let's understand where is this peacekeeping situated in the working of the UN, okay? And what are the debates around peacekeeping? Now, this question has not been asked in the what? GS part. So, GS mein sanctions is also left. In GS, even what is left? Even peacekeeping. So, these can be questions that can be asked. Is this clear? So, I am doing them, and sanctions are important from interview point of view also, because they are something which is ongoing, always in news. So, it's very important you will know about them. Okay, we have discussed them yesterday. Now, let's talk of the concept of peacekeeping. Now, before we talk about peacekeeping, let's talk of what is the process in any conflict anywhere in the world and how to resolve it. What are the stages? Okay? Then we will talk of United Nations peacekeeping. So, when we talk of a conflict, first is peacemaking, which means you will do some sort of a agreement. Either it can be a ceasefire agreement, either it can be telling both the parties to come and do consent or establish a consensus to resolve a conflict. This is peacemaking. Maybe this peacemaking will need an arbitrator or a mediator, right? So here also there can be role for either a country or the UN, है ना? So how does Trump say that he is resolving conflicts in many parts of the world? So he has done only this role, okay? But only doing this is not important. You know why? Because observing of whether the conditions again do not become worse for the conflict to escalate. Is this clear? So the second of whatever a treaty has been done or whatever agreement has been done between two parties, we also need somebody who should be neutral to observe. That is the concept of peacekeeping, which means third party soldiers to see whether they are abiding by this agreement that has been done. Is this clear? Now, and largely when we talk of peacekeeping, we are talking in terms of either, conflicts which are there within nations or between some forces between two nations. अब for example, when we talk of India-Pakistan conflict, तो यहीं पे वो काम खत्म हो गया. If America claims it has done and it is over. Because it is the militaries which we have the LOC, we have ceasefire agreement, line, and we are observing each other, right? But we don't need UN to come here and intervene. But in African nations, in many other parts of the world, certain conflicts need observations. Why? Because, people are not behaving themselves within the state also. Okay? So here you will need what? Peacekeeping forces. Now, any conflict's nature is not always guided by ideological or political or civil reasons. Okay? Which means they are not only because somebody is fighting. There are reasons why people fight. Reasons can be, conflicts can be having economic implications. They can be with respect to competition over resources. Yes? Or historical claim of one group that this resource or this region or this area, territory belongs to them. Yes, or it can be with respect to autonomy of that particular region. Okay, this you need to give us rights of how we manage this region. Anything. So for that, a long-term process is required to keep peace. What is required? Long-term process. That process, which is very long-term, so that the conflict doesn't escalate again, is called as peace building. This is more structured. And this is also with respect to education, health, disease spread nahi hona chahiye, hai na? So that is peace building exercise, longest process. You change the structure of a conflict. मतलब अगर कोई region में if you do better health outcomes, you give aid, you do education, socio-economic indicators will improve. So then people might agree to some sort of, conciliation. Okay? This is long term. These are the two other processes that happen. Initiating with this and then peacekeeping. Okay? Chalo. Now, when we talk of United Nations, we are talking of the concept of peacekeeping. So, is peacekeeping for a conflict resolution within United Nations Charter? Is this mentioned in the UN Charter that United Nations should use force for establishing peace? No. Why? Because what is the aim of UN? To peacefully resolve disputes. So can UN have a peacekeeping force of its own? Can it train soldiers? No, it cannot use military means like that. What it can do is act like a mediator or arbitrator so that people and those conflictual regions will come. So first understand the concept of peacekeeping is not mentioned in United Nations Charter, which means UN is the agency which is only doing what? UN ki, is there something called as military force of UN? No, it cannot use force at all. So what it will do? It will be like a coordinator, and it will get people on UN designation, which means it will get soldiers, right? And this soldier's aim is not to go and win in a conflict. UN is not going in that conflict to win. It is going to resolve. The attitude is that, which is different from a military force which is operating in any country. Is this matlab, if Indian soldiers go in a conflict with India, Pakistan, we will go there to win, not to establish peace. From winning that peace will come. Yes, या तो वो जीते या हम जीते, पीस हो जाएगा उसके बाद. यहाँ पे win is not the idea. यहाँ is coordination so that peace can remain without using force. So it gets army, soldiers from other countries. It recruits them who are UN designated, which means when they go for a peacekeeping operation, when these combatants go for a peacekeeping operation, who will guide them? Will their country's military general guide them? No. Who guides them? Any UN designated officer for that mission. So it is a UN designated officer, person who will guide that mission for which he is sent. जैसे रवांडा में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो गई तो आप इधर जाइए. So it is not mentioned. So UN doesn't have its own force. It gets soldiers from different countries. Troop contribution बोलते हैं इसको. क्या बोलते हैं? Troop contribution. So there is different countries do troop contribution. So if it is not mentioned in UN Charter, then how can UN have peacekeeping forces? By what virtue? Where कहीं तो कोई principle से align होके आता होगा ना UN में. So we have two principles in UN for resolving a conflict, which I had spoken of yesterday. Yes? One is chapter 6. याद आ रहा है? What is chapter 6? फिर बताओ, याद आ रहा है तो. One is chapter 7. बताओ. What is chapter 6 and what is chapter 7? Chapter 6 is peacefully talking, negotiation. Okay? बात कराओ, बिठाओ, settle a dispute diplomatically. अगर ये नहीं हो रहा है तो we use military means and non-military means. Chapter 7 has 41 as well as 42 articles. So we understood sanctions as a non-military mean, and then there are military means also. Yes? But who will pass this, yes or no? UNSC only has that power to use this for conflict resolution. Can UNGA guide it? No. नहीं. तो chapter 6 और chapter 7 के बीच क्या है? What is peacekeeping? It is 6.5. Is there a chapter called as 6.5? No. There is no chapter called as 6.5. which means these peacekeepers do both things. They make them talk also, and if not, it can also, there is need to use more force that way. But force is not with respect to altering the balance of power. Force is a measure of last resort and only with respect to self-defense, which means any peacekeeping force that is going there, it is acting neutral amongst the two parties that are in conflict. So there are principles also of how they have to operate. So it is said by UN Secretary General that peacekeeping is 6.5 because it is not mentioned anywhere in UN Charter. But where does it arrive or derive, sorry, its mandate from? कि इन दोनों का मिक्स है. ओके, बात भी कराओ, बिठाओ, समझाओ, पीस को एनफोर्स भी करो. Why? So peacekeeping is like peace enforcement only in a way. Okay, कि you will go and observe whatever has been agreed on, or you make them talk. So you use both. You use dialogue also and you use where required force. But force is not to tilt balance in favor of any one political party. For example, if US has an interest in Syria, Syria is in conflict, and US is, supporting the rebel forces against the government. और यूएस के ट्रूप्स अगर वहां चले गए और इंडिया के ट्रूप्स वहां चले गए उस पर्टिकुलर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को रिजॉल्व कराने, सो देन दे कैनॉट बी इन द अमेरिकन इंटरेस्ट. They cannot be working there for American interest or Indian interest or Chinese interest or Bangladeshi troops that are going. They always work in the interest of resolving the conflict, not to support any one political force that is fighting. Okay? So, what are the principles in peacekeeping then? So, what is peacekeeping? So, neutral, lightly combated. क्या बुलाते हैं? Lightly combated. Because when two people are in conflict, their anger is at the peak. So, they don't want to listen to anyone. So, maybe they might attack you also. ना? जो बीच में जाता है बेचारा वो तो फंसता ही है. Life also it is like that. Same problem they also must be faced. तो खुद का self defense तो करेंगे. Imagine the two groups turn violent. बोले हटो. That's why lightly combated, not heavily combated. Okay. So those are neutral, lightly combated third party soldiers, so that there is no conflict of interest. Varna all conflict areas, different countries have different interest. They will use UN peacekeeping operation to meet their interest. Yes, that's why. So principles are, we use force, but only with respect to, not to alter balance of power there. It is only as a what? Measure of self-defense. So remember Sri Lanka? We had also sent peacekeepers. तो बेचारे वो तो 87 के accord को गए थे. That was not UN designated, but they also went to enforce that accord. But they got mired in that conflict. Indian soldiers को मरना भी पड़ा. फिर प्राइम मिनिस्टर को भी मार दिया because he withdrew those peacekeeping forces. Remember? So that is something you will connect to. That's why I'm giving that example. Okay. Now, how should they act? Can they act in anybody's favor? They should act impartially. Right? And always work with the consent of the parties. Always work with what? Consent of the parties. Understood peacekeeping? That is how it works. So peacekeeping, if it is asked, it is not in UN Charter. So now, earlier, effectively, major countries, their military generals, very expertise in conflict resolution, they used to head. And then they would drive the conflict, But later UN realized that it cannot work like this very good, which means success will not happen. So then it got an independent department within UN to do this coordination, which was called as डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पीस कीपिंग ऑपरेशन, वेरी लेट इन 1990s. क्या बुलाते हैं इसको? डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पीस कीपिंग ऑपरेशन. सो दिस इज द यूएन डिपार्टमेंट हु कोऑर्डिनेट्स यूएन पीस कीपिंग मिशन. पहले स्पेसिफिक डिपार्टमेंट भी नहीं था ये सब कोऑर्डिनेट करने के लिए. So they must act independently. Those soldiers will not work on the guidance of the national government. तो इंडिया अगर ट्रूप्स भेज रही है इजराइल की कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पे, तो they should not favor Israel because we like Israel, no now. Government likes Israel, so possibility, but it should not be that way. Is this clear? You have to act on the DPKO's mission designated officer to guide the mission. Now this is the ideal scenario. Reality में क्या होता होगा? Reality, see, UN is always having problems with respect to resources. So first, troop contribution itself may become a problem. Second, resources on ground is a problem. Third, there are military conflicts also that can take place. Fourth, there can be diplomatic tension. For example, I have a contingent, I am an officer who is resolving an issue in Rwanda. I am from America. The troops have come from India, from Bangladesh, and from Pakistan. Okay? Right? And I am in Africa, resolved. So I am the head of that contingent, but troops have come from different parts of the world. Yes? So there can be some tensions amongst countries also with respect to how, structuring on ground of these things. Coordination issues can also come because UN itself is not present, designated people are there. So there are diplomatic tensions, there are military tension, there are personnel issues. Some people are trained differently. What troops we may send may not be the most expertise in an operation that is happening in Rwanda. Is this clear? Though we will obviously look into these details, but like that. So there were always challenges also, and that's why success. And sometimes in the middle of the conflict, जो agenda से आए थे वही भूल जाते हैं. So then the conflict mires, but they are helpless. So then no success will happen. Is this clear? So challenges are also there in peacekeeping. Clear? Now let's move towards Sustainable Development Goals. There is one more idea, just understand. So we have something called as peacekeeping, which is in conflict within nations. There is one more principle we always remember at UN, universally. UN always says it respects sovereignty. That is one of the key principles. Remember yesterday? They always respect sovereignty, which means what will not do in the domestic affairs of the nations, it will not interfere. So what it is guided by? Non-interventionism. Do not interfere in the domestic politics. But we always know one thing. State is protector of human rights. Yes, but state can also be, if it is protector, it can also be, state is also violator of human rights. So then what should UN as a body do when state is doing this? How to protect people? Because when we say the concept of human rights have moral basis, human dignity, right? Human rights, there are legal foundation also. International conventions on political civil rights, international convention with respect to social and economic rights, international convention on racial discrimination. All these are legal treaties which are there for human rights. And we have a United Nations UDHR Declaration 1948 which lays down principle. It is not a legally binding document. It is only laying principles, and then there are specific convention. That is the human rights framework at UN. Okay? However, when we say अगर ये स्टेट ही ह्यूमन राइट्स का वायोलेटर बन जाएगा तो द राइट टू आस्क अ राइट फॉर एन इंडिविजुअल विल गो. If my state is not protecting it, who will protect me? International community will protect me. Why? I am a human before I am a citizen. Yes? And human rights protect that status by the virtue of human dignity. So, to manage sovereignty and to manage this violation, something in the middle had to be drawn. So, we call this as humanitarian intervention. क्या बुलाते हैं? Which means when state will become violator, UN will come to protect. This is called as responsibility to protect. R2P जो principle है, ये इसी को balance करता है. Have you heard of this responsibility to protect? Earlier it was not accepted. Why? Because this will automatically amount to intervention in the affairs of the states. So tomorrow they will tell government of Modi also, you are doing human right violation, we will interfere. So though the principle of responsibility to protect is there, it came to be formalized in 2005. Kab? 2005. Okay, so in 2005 it was formalized, but UNSC on case to case basis will see whether humanitarian intervention is justified. Okay, it cannot apply this principle as universally as it applies the principle of collective security. UN's whole foundation, I had said, is based on collective security, which means if one state is an aggressor to other states, then all the states will come to protection and challenge that one state. Imagine if Pakistan is disturbing whole world or Afghanistan is disturbing whole world, then all states will initiate resolution against Afghanistan and Pakistan until the protectors like China do veto. Yes? But when we are talking here with respect to responsibility to protect, intervention तो यहाँ भी है, लेकिन goal अलग है. This is with respect to human rights. Is this understood? Responsibility protect is violation of human rights done by the states within their state. So then external intervention can happen. But it is that this will not be used against big powers. Again, who will come to be used against? Underdeveloped states, largely in Africa. Some smaller Asian states, America, Latin America. So it will not be used against us. India के लिए कह देंगे R2P, India बोलेगा जाओ यहाँ से. समझ आया? Clear? So it is used selectively. That is the big problem. Okay? So got the difference between R2P? R2P is used for human right violation.